Even if you don't typically watch Yoruba films at the cinema, you would certainly have been tempted to see Mofe, directed by Debola Santa. Released in September 2021, the film stars familiar names like Jide Kosoko, Jumoke Odetola, Lateef Adedimeji, and Tope Tedela. As much as Debola's first feature film was released in 2021, he's no stranger to the Nigerian film industry. If you're a fan of Yoruba TV series Borokini or Awon Aladun, then you're familiar with his work, as he directed several episodes of these shows. In case you're wondering how he became Santa, that was the first thing I asked him about.
Well, you use Debola Santa on your films. Where does the Santa come from?
During the first few years, Facebook came to Nigeria. Everyone was so excited about Facebook. It was something new. I think it was December. Then everyone started adding Santa to their names. So I added Santa to my name.
Which year was this?
This was maybe 2009 or 10. I decided to now change it back after Christmas. I couldn't change it back. Everyone else could change theirs. I couldn't change mine. So I said, let's leave it like that.
Interesting. Wow. Meanwhile, when I googled your name, I found something on XYZ News. Did you know that you are on XYZ News?
Don't mind those people. You saw my what, right?
I need to read this. We have estimated Debola Santa net worth to be $6,000 US. Like,
imagine. How much is that naira?
What do you have to say about that?
When I saw it, so when I was pushing Mofe, one of the first things that I wanted to do, that one of my guys advised is, this film may not make the money that you want from the cinemas, but it should give you a lot of visibility. So I'm constantly checking for any news on me or Mofe. Then I saw this XYZ News and I saw $6,000 US. I'm wondering, like, this would don't rate me.
Anyway, it's all good. Meanwhile, can you give us, for those of us who don't know you very well, can you give us a brief background about who you are and what you do, your origin story?
So, my name is Debola Santa, Debola Ogunshina. So I grew up in Mushin, Diaraba. I grew up in Mushin, Diaraba. Of course, everybody knows that. So maybe not everybody, but everybody knows Mushin.
Yeah.
So it was tough growing up. Let's move on. I studied theater arts at the University of Ibadan. That was where I had my first degrees. And what else do you need to know about me? I was born into a family of 4. I'm the last. I was initially doing sciences, my secondary school. Then after a while, I realized that I was a gatekeeper. Writing jam. My results were never released for like 3 years thereabout.
Wow.
So I've been writing stories when I was in JSS, So I just thought, maybe God actually wanted me to do this. So I changed. When I changed, the first poly jam I did, I gained admission into Laspotech, studied mass comm. So while I was doing mass comm, I was not really happy. I didn't find fulfillment doing mass comm because I don't know, things were just not working out. So I left school. I dropped out. My mom was so concerned. I said, no, I'd rather face this data that I really want. What's the point of leaving sciences to now come and do a second,
something that you're not passionate about?
Teach data arts for mass comm again. There's no point. I wasn't doing sciences again. So I left. And then so I did the UME, then I was again admission to UI.
That's pretty interesting, because even originally I was a science student before I switched to art, and then even though I studied mass comm, what I really wanted to do was theater arts, which is weird. Yeah, but I followed through with mass comm. But anyway, so you studied theater arts. Was it I mean, you going into film, was that something that you decided to do while you were studying theater arts? Did it come before? Did it come after?
I actually didn't see myself, and that's one of the, I don't want to say regrets now, because I I believe some of us were not exposed enough when we were in school. So
Yeah.
I was just doing theater. After 200 level, I also felt like dropping out because when we're in 300 level, I felt like I knew everything I needed to know. What's the point? I just wanted to try. So I just wanted to try something new. So for me, I get bored easily.
I have the same problem.
So it's always tough. So when I was in 300 level, at some point I felt like, what am I doing? So it was when I left UI. When I left UI, I was doing plays for about 1 year. I was directing plays in Lagos every month, with live theater on Sunday. Then at some point I knew that, see, I couldn't do this. I wasn't going to do plays for long.
Why?
First, it wasn't going to pay for the kind of life I wanted to live. It was not going to pay for it. I was collecting 30,000 naira every month or 50,000 naira. So I knew something had to be done.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Chris Ihidero. He shared a similar story when I was in his story class about how he was in theater and it wasn't paying, and he found his way into TV. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting.
Yes. So I just knew that this thing can't work. I was in a relationship with my wife then. I think we had been together for 2 or 3 years. I knew one day we're going to get married. This theater would not pay for my wedding. Did not cater, for my children. So I mean, for others it could work, but for me, I knew this wasn't going to work. Like, this theater, I could come back to it when I have some money. But for now, what's going to happen? And I also got tired of explaining. People who couldn't come to see the play, I would not say, you know what? The thing is, it was enjoyable. You missed out. I want a lot of people to have access to my art as well.
That makes sense.
You have to do something. So somehow I found my way into filmmaking. As a matter of fact, I started with music videos. I met a certain man who was big then, who was directing music videos for Pasoma, for a lot of those video artists and some gospel artists. So I got involved with him, although I'm not sure. I probably just spent 2 days with him.
But did you direct any music videos?
Yeah. I have done.
Was it back then or later?
I did one in 2012 before I even started by filmmaking. I think that's actually the first thing I ever did on film.
Did you direct it or did you shoot it? What did you do? Okay.
I think it's online. It's good shout because when I think of it, it's funny. Almost everyone was learning on set. The DP was learning. I was learning.
So from your first music video to your TV series, Awon Aladun. For Awon Aladun fans here, I'm a huge fan. Like, I never watched African Magic Yoruba, right? But once I'm passing and Awon Aladun is on the TV, I'm going to stop and watch it. So what was that journey like from shooting your first music video to making TV series? And which one came first? Was it Borokini or Awon Aladun?
No, Awon Aladun. Awon Aladun is my baby. I've been on Awon Aladun since 2016. From their second season. They had done one season, 52 episodes that they had to trash, and then they did a new season. That's the official first season. So I knew them way back, when I think I had left school then, but because we all did theater arts, there's this family thing in theater arts. You probably know the person that you never met in school. Everybody knows everybody, so I'd known them. I'd done a couple of stuff for one of the partners although not on Aladun, but I created stuff for them, but I got on Aladun because one of the partners saw a short film that I did on a short film I did for Christmas. I guess that also solidified the name Santa. I don't know if you saw it. The Gift.
No, I didn't see it.
So it was quite popular. A lot of people know the short film, because these people also posted it. Mark Angel posted it there and it had over 3 million views.
Wow.
So he saw the short film and then called me up that he wanted to do the second season. He would like me to get on it. So I became the head writer and one of the directors. So, and I've always loved sitcoms. I've always loved comedies. When I was in school, I'd written like 3 comedies. So I'd always loved comedies. So when it came, I was so happy. I mean, I think we had worked on Family first before Aladun.
Okay.
So I got on Aladun as the head writer and one of the directors. Since then, I've been on Aladun. The ones that you probably see, the episode that you probably latched on was from 2017 thereabouts.
And you joined the year before.
Yeah, I joined, but we didn't broadcast 2017. I mean, it's not because I joined alone. So it's because we also got some stars on it. We got Jaikuti on it. So Jaikuti had a lot of fans. So a lot of people just started noticing it. All
right, fantastic. So between then and when you made Mofe, which year was Mofe? Was it 2019 or 2020?
So we shot in 2020.
2020, yes. So what led you to that film, and why did you wait till 2020 to make your first feature film?
Making films is so tough. So every year I feel like I had not learned anything. I mean, I would know that I've learned, but every year you get better. So I played with some shorts. There was some shorts that I regretted. So apparently those shorts were building me. So I knew I was going to make a film sometime, but I needed to be sure that I was making the right decision. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but I need to do something that at least I can look at and I will not cringe. And the winner is in 2019, and it won Best Nigerian Short at Abuja International Film Festival. And it's not because it won alone. I met a lot of people who were so in love with it.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
So I felt like this is good. Yes, it is also, the film is also not 100, but it's promising. So I was like, okay, it means I'm close, So I thought to myself, stay with this. And I've been in the Yoruba industry for long. I've made some films for some Yoruba producers. So making Mofe, I was like, let me try and crack the process. I don't really have so much, I didn't really have so much when I wanted to do Mofe, but I knew that people make things happen with low budget. Find a way to make this thing work. You can't continue to give yourself excuses. I also wanted to be in some discussions in Nollywood. So what better way to make a friend of a friend?
Yeah, let's do that. So tell us, of course, in your own words, without giving us any spoilers or anything, what is Mofe about?
It's very simple. Mofe is the story of a couple who based the planning of their wedding on the promises of a distant uncle. I mean, that's simple.
That's like
as Africans now, us now. We like to celebrate, and sometimes we don't even have the money to fund the celebration. I've had people say, what, do the wedding. Bash your wedding, when you do that, then people will come, they will spray you money.
So what inspired that story?
So I'm married, obviously. So my wedding was nice. And then we had some discussions, me and my wife. There were points that my wife told me, hey, let's do this. I'll be like, see, no, I know you do pass my power. You see anything you pass my power, I know there is one. And she knows, even in life, away from weddings, I don't like to ask to borrow money. So it's more of a personality thing for me. I don't like to borrow money. If I borrow money from somebody, like I'm 100% sure I'm returning it in the next few days.
You cut your coat according to your size.
Exactly. Because I actually grew up, it's a background thing. Sometimes I even have fears. I grew up with almost like nothing. For the first 18, 20 years of my life was nothing. Like we had to really struggle to eat. So I'm always afraid to go back. So anything that would take me back, I'm avoiding it.
So I noticed that even though I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the trailer, and I can tell that the look and the feel is different, even though it's a Yoruba film, right? So I'm really curious, what inspired that look and that film that you went for?
So here is it. These people are lovers. I wanted to create a fairy tale look. And obviously, when you say fairy tale look, you know what Disney would do. But I'm Debola, who is also not a millionaire. So what can I achieve with the little resources that I have with me? So I needed to understand colors. So what I did was I went online. I must have seen like 1,000 interior decorations. Obviously, not 8,000. But I saw on hundreds on Pinterest. I kept checking, for color combinations, color looks generally, So I got, in fact, I think it was an animation that I saw, and they used blue and yellow, and it was so good. It looked so good. I said, you know what? Let's try it. So we did blue and yellow majorly, and I spoke at length with my art director. A lot. We had a lot of conversations. So we had lockdown. So we had several meetings. I would send them references. Because I was also searching. I was stumbling on things. So costume-wise, I said, okay, this is going to be. So I needed to make a Yoruba film. Also, first because it's supposed to be a low budget. And then nobody was going to give me millions. So the question is, how can it be low budget but also look expensive? Or how can it be low budget and nobody will remember that, watch it, and they will never say, oh, one of those low budget films. So you have to be intentional about everything.
So did you spend more of your money on art direction, on production design?
I spent some money, but I mean, it's not out of the world because we had an understanding. That's probably the first feature film my art director would do.
Oh, interesting.
So we had time to really play, to really talk, toss ideas back and forth, and he was really ready to do it. Because I took a risk on him. I took a big risk.
So when you shot 2020, 2020 was when we had all those lockdowns and stuff. How did you manage? How did you manage when COVID was raging?
So I told my actors, this is going to be a romantic, a rom-com.
Yeah.
But you're not going to kiss. So I said, so you're not going to kiss. You are not. So, and that's how we wrote the script, because we also wrote last year. So anything that would make people get too close, we avoided. And we had hand sanitizer everywhere, just try to be careful. We couldn't do too much, because they are not even started vaccination then.
Yeah.
So, but we try to to be cautious.
Okay, that's fair. So I'm curious. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but what was your budget? Yes.
That's what everybody asks.
Yeah.
The budget. Let's say $1 million.
Wow.
Let me answer you.
Wow.
Just because, anybody may want to do anything. But obviously, you look at the budget that I'm telling you, there's a lot of relationship in it. I spoke with a lot of people. I sold the idea to a lot of friends who bought the idea. Some people just loved it. They wanted to get on it. Obviously, if you look at it, that's like 5 million naira or more. That's without the distribution fees, the branding and all. With branding, I'm looking at 10 million. So a lot of people took a risk. They just wanted to be on the project. So we could dialogue, we could discuss according to what I had then. But obviously, when the film makes the kind of money I wanted to make, or the kind of money it should make, I was going to pay this. So that's part of the budget. I told myself, this year I'm going to make this film. I'm going to make a film. So I worked towards it. And, nothing was going to stop me. Not funds, nothing. So I got the people who could do it. I was open, said, this is it. People that would normally take, 500K, they were like, okay, yeah, Debola, we really want to do this. Because also, I spent some years in the industry. I had done stuff for people. So when I said I was going to make my film, some people were waiting to even be on my film. So when I announced that I was going to make a film, so someone told me, and it was very emotional for me. Someone told me that, if you're not paying me one copy, I'm coming on this set. This person had short adverts for big brands.
Wow.
Said, don't worry, I'm coming. And so it made me appreciate Nigerians a lot.
And obviously you must have a rich network.
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
Even equipment. A good brother gave me equipment for about 7 days. And I paid for only one camera. He gave me 2 cameras for 7 days. I paid for only one camera. Can you imagine?
Wow.
For a day. I paid for only one camera for a day, not even for the 7 days.
Wow.
So you understand, if you look at that, that's the part of the budget. Okay. Why I'm saying this now, I could have said 10 million. But why I'm saying this is just people will know that there are many good people out there. If you don't take them for granted, if after this we make the money and now decide to now go to Maldives, decide to start flexing, we just look like this guy did wicked. No worry, go come again.
Yeah.
And then with that, they won't want to help other people again.
So the lesson in this is that with a bit of money, even if you have little money, if you have a rich network.
Yes, you must have done something for people as well. You can't just spring up. They'll call you. You're not always available to help. And then one day you're saying, you are expecting people to run to. No, it probably won't happen. So
for young filmmakers, they should probably start building up their network, sowing seeds that they might reap one day.
Yes, especially in Nollywood, where you probably won't get the budget that you want. You probably don't have a studio that would, produce the film for you. I'm not saying every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes to you, you're just going to say, okay, let's go for free. Nah, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You will have a circle. Where you guys come up, a community of some sort.
All right. So, you've talked a bit about your pre-production process, how you work with the art director, but I'm also curious, how did you work with your other key crew members, your DP, for instance? And did you write it yourself?
So the story is mine. But I employed one of my guys to write, Mike Adejon. He wrote the script. We had worked on Borokini together. We had worked on Aladun date together. So I told him that, Mike, see, you want to do this? you know, and we are going to put in our best to do this. So we are going to retain the rawness of the regular Yoruba film, but we are going to scale it up, with the look, with some technicalities. We are just going to scale it up, but retain the rawness, because these people have some very insane lines. They have some insane ideas. So let's try to be the bridge between A and C. Good production quality, good production value. Retain some of the Yoruba, the rawness in some of these African magic films. So not I probably would have made an English film, but I mean.
So why
that's the idea of Yoruba.
That's actually a question that I didn't think of before. Why didn't you make it in English? Why Yoruba?
So that if I had made that film in English, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. You would probably not interview me.
Why? Why do you think so?
I'll tell you why. A lot of people are complaining that Yoruba say that their technicals, for some of them, they post them online. Nobody is saying the English film that is poor. And we have a lot of them. So, but everyone is talking about it, Yoruba. So if you do something that looks good, you get the attention like, oh, wait a minute, this is Yoruba. Someone saw the trailer, was in love with the trailer, and it was until after a few days that it occurred to her that, wait, that's your film like Yoruba?
Yoruba film.
Some people even ask me, is it a Yoruba film? I'm like, is in the trailer, they were speaking Yoruba. But you probably wouldn't know, because also the trailer, I had to work on the trailer like a lot, because I knew, it's an image for me. The whole process of making Mofe is an image. I wanted it to be in some discussions in Hollywood. So a lot of people may not see, because I don't have the clout. They may not see the film. But what will they see? The trailer. So the trailer has to be 100 as well.
Yeah.
I've had some top filmmakers in my DM saying, no, this is a really good trailer. People that have not been following, that will just start following, telling me that, no, this is good. This looks good. And that's what I want. So when we meet later in life, I'm going to do that film. And say, oh, really? They've not seen it, though. A lot of people have not seen it, but from the trailer, I know that trailer, I'm sure. I told my editor that, see, we probably edited it like 10 times. I said, no, this is not it. When we got to that point, I said, no, this is it.
So you needed it to be perfect.
Yeah, because I knew that they will see it online, no doubt. But they may not go to the cinemas to see it. People who give me jobs may not go to the cinemas, but from the trailer, they'll be like, okay, this is different.
I was going to ask later, but let me ask now. I mean, for those of us that couldn't catch it in the cinemas, when and where are we going to be able to watch Mofe?
This industry, you can't say.
Wow.
everyone is trying, especially if you don't have the connect that you have. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not even in Hollywood alone. It's everywhere. You need it. So we are trying. Hopefully, it gets on the platforms that will be on everybody's lips.
Yeah.
So when it gets there, everybody gets the chance to see it. There was a time I toyed with the idea that this film is like, I'll just release it. Everybody should download it for free.
Are you serious? Wait, I beg. Just hold on to it first.
No, that was it. I was just thinking in my head like, don't mind me, I can't do that. There's a lot of effort that went into it. People take a lot of risk on it. So.
Even if we have to wait for 3 years, no, we'll wait. We're waiting patiently. So after having gone through that process, making the film, what do you think you could have done better, looking back? And do you have any regrets about anything?
Okay, so first of all, I don't have any regrets, because the reason I made the film, I'm seeing the results already. I wanted my phone to continue to ring. Bro, even though some of them have not manifested, but that's a sign of good things to come.
Yeah.
That people are calling me because of the trailer they saw. They've seen a lot of trailers, so that they are telling me, they're calling me that they needed to work with me, it's a good sign. And that's the main reason I made the film. I wanted to be in certain discussions, So looking back, I would have more money. First of all, I can't make a film like as low as that again. I can never.
Yeah.
We shot Mofe in 3 days.
Oh.
We had but I made sure my pre-production was tight. We had a lot of meetings. So we made it 3 days. We shot for 3 days. So post-production we took time because I needed to get the right music. And then that's the thing about Mofe. If you love it for something. The music is there. A lot of people called me for the music, So looking back, what I would have done was to give it time, start my publicity, PR, marketing, everything before we even started filming.
So tell me more about that, the marketing and publicity. Tell me more about how you handle that.
So first of all, I said the trailer was going to be good so that I wouldn't have to beg actors to post the actors that were in the film. Because, if you don't have a lot of money to give certain people, they may not post. But I needed it to be 100 so that you two will be proud of the project. You want to post it. So we did that. But we didn't have enough money to do a lot of solid publicity. We only rode on friends, one of our friends posted it. It was just growing organically like that.
If you had more money to spend on publicity, and if you had started before you started shooting the film, what would you have done differently regarding the publicity and marketing?
I would have done a reading. A reading that would be like a conference. We read at a conference. Like 4 months or 5 months before we even started filming. We introduce the actors. While we are filming, we do a lot of BTS, a lot interviews. Let them talk about it. A lot of content from the production. We would have done that. So imagine you start publicity like 3 months before filming.
Yeah.
And then you continue. You have a lot of content to post so that you can do 3 months before screening. I would have also met with the cinema stakeholders. I would have understood cinema more. Which is good because I didn't break the bank to make the film. So it's a good test, for us.
So how did you find the experience going to cinema for the first time, taking a film project to the cinema?
It's pretty tough, but it was exciting for me because going to the cinemas, I was praying for the best. Okay, but I also knew the worst could happen. So and that's how I go into anything I do. See, I'm positive, but anything can happen. So with that, I don't beat on myself too much, because as I was going into it, I'm like, see, people will be shocked, like, with him, but what you? But I said, yes, I will not be with it. Because so my motivation is, I grew up in nothing. You get it?
Yeah.
So if this film fails, I'm not going to be reduced to nothing. It's a good step. It's part of the journey that I will look back and I'll be happy that I did it. I knew I could not lose at all because I would sell the films. I would sell the film to, and I would make my money.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going to break it. So while we were doing all the planning, I was careful. I would not put everything into it, sell my house or anything. I mean, others could do it. Good luck to them. Well, no. I'm not about to pack my load and return to you.
So, I mean, for filmmakers who are looking to take their first feature films to the cinema, what would you say to them? What should they look out for? What should they do? What should they avoid? How much can you tell us?
So it's easy for me to just say, do this, do that. But sometimes you have to just make your own mistakes. But what I can say is, I work more on my instincts as well. If I want something so bad, I'll just go get it. So if I'm convinced, others may not be convinced, but if I'm convinced that You know, when you say something is a dream, you say I had a dream.
Yeah.
So say that you only had a dream. Others are not in the same, they didn't experience that dream. So it's only you that will understand it and be convinced that this will work. Sometimes, you know, so I just push. The reason I've not gotten to a certain place is because I've not made my film. And I'll make it. I told her that stay. And that was why I had to make it. You know, so I mean, believe in yourself, study actually. Because also I didn't just wake up and say I want to make a film. Study. Watch as many films as you can. Read books that you can lay your hands on. Watch films. You know, just try to know more. When at the right time you will know. And then toy with shots is a good way to experiment. It's a good way to make certain mistakes. You know, but for me, before making Mofe, I had done about 4 shots. I had done in like 100 hours of a sitcom.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd written many episodes of a sitcom. So I've been in the industry for some time.
All right, cool. Meanwhile, I'm curious, yeah. What is it that you brought into? What would you say that you took from making TV series and Aladun Borokini that influenced you as a director making your first feature film?
First, language. I realize most of us we are native speakers of Yoruba. English is the second language usually. So I realize actors feel more comfortable in that first language. They may not tell you, and everybody can speak in English. But I realized something. They can come, when they come in and they are asked to speak in English, they think of the lines in English. In their head, they probably interpret to Yoruba. And that's, you know, sort of like affects the acting, the delivery.
I 100% agree.
I realized that if they speak in their native language, they are not thinking of it. It's natural. It's their comfort zone. They're not thinking of it. They are concentrating on their delivery. But imagine you have to translate first. You know, so it's hard, and we don't always have the time to bring in actors for days. You know, rehearse. So with the kind of system we run here, it's best if they talk in their first language.
Yeah.
So now that you talk about rehearsal, I'm curious, did you have time for rehearsal at all with any of your actors?
We didn't have time, but we had conversations over the phone. You know, we would discuss the script at length. You know, here, you know, some of our meetings were on phone.
Did you do that individually, like with each individual actor, or did you have group calls?
Individual actors, I didn't have group. I said if I have to do it again, I would have like 2 days rehearsal.
So did not having rehearsals give you any issues on set?
Not the major issue, but I mean, it would have looked way better.
So I was gonna ask about your actors. Did you work with them before? Was there any of them that you had like a long-time relationship with, or was it the first time you were working with most of them?
So now, also because you are trying to manage, like we said, we agreed that your connection works a lot. So Yoruba Odetola has been my friend since 2016. I mean, it's not like we see every day, but we've been in constant communication since 2017, rather.
Wow.
Actually, I met him sometime in 2013 or 2014 when he made a Man from Home. We met in the church and we exchanged contact. I told him I saw the trailer and I loved it. So we talk once in a while. Sometimes maybe we don't talk for like 3 years. But we now met again. We're on the same set. So this was me, I was doing anything. I knew I was going to be a director. I knew I'm a director. But I'm also an actor. So I was on an Mnet series, Jemeji. I reunited with Top there on Jemeji. No, so he was also acting in Jemeji. So I was there for like 6 months. So we had time to talk. I shared certain ideas with him, my vision, and kept talking till Mofe. Mofe was the first film we do together. I'll direct. Then it was supposed to be in the And the Winner Is. It was supposed to be on And the Winner Is actually. So,
And what happened?
but he couldn't make it. They had other projects.
Oh, I see. So
Lateef, we had worked together on Borokini,
okay.
on Aladun. So
Okay.
it was only I had worked with Jide on Aladun on Borokini. I had worked with Jide Kosoko on Borokini. I think the only person that I had not worked with before up until Mofe was Jumoke.
Oh, I see. I mean, you at that time you're a well-connected director, so no problems, no wahala.
Yeah.
But then I'm curious, your next film, would you like to take that to the cinema as well?
Yes, actually. Yeah, I'd like to go to the cinemas. I mean, I see myself as someone who would make 300 million, 400 million.
Man.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people's response to my plays. I know people there are times you laugh and then you weep. I don't know when you start with. You cry. You laugh and start weeping. So I know what I can do.
Okay, so to round off, we're going to do a rapid fire round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a word or a phrase, and then you say the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Very ready.
Netflix.
Money.
YouTube.
YouTube. Anything.
Best movie ever.
The King of Comedy.
Best screenplay.
The Apartment.
Aha. Popcorn.
One of those Fast and Furious.
TV versus film.
TV.
Aha, okay. Now you know where your heart is. But I agree that The Apartment is the best screenplay ever. I'm sure I've read it like 3 times.
Yeah, The Apartment.
The
Apartment. No,
Yeah.
there's solid script.
Good.
There's another one, but it's fine.
Yeah.
What did you find most inspiring about Debola's experience? Send us a DM on Instagram to let us know. Our handle is @theafricanfilmmaker. If you prefer to send us an email, our email address is at africanfilmmakergroup@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. And before you go, please take a screenshot of this podcast and share on social media. Share with your friends and family who are filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers as well. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to connect with me, my handle is @Korayday, that is KORAYDAY. If you're more of a Twitter person, my Twitter handle is @IamKorayday. Connect with Debola on Instagram. His handle is @Debola Santa. Links to his work will be in the show notes. Until the next episode, toodles!